Megaman EXE's Aqua-type transformations are... Wait, where's my music? Hold on, let me just get that pulled up real quick. Huh. This isn't Megaman music, but it's so...
Perfect. Perfect. Everything, down to the last minute details.
As I was saying, Megaman's Aqua-type transformations are really interesting to me. I remember hearing a lot about these transformations being weak or underwhelming when I was younger, but personally, I don't think they're weak at all. If anything, it's always been more of a concern with the tools available to each of these transformations than with their own abilities. So today, we're going to be answering two questions. Which of Megaman's Aqua transformations is the strongest one, and which transformation gets the best Aqua-type folder to work with? Now, I know that the last time I did this by looking at Megaman's fire transformations, I threw a bit of a curveball and ended up saying that it's actually Tomahawk Soul that's the best transformation for a fire folder. But I promise, there won't be any shenanigans in this video like there were in that one. So let's first take a look at each of Megaman's Aqua-type transformations to see which one is his strongest. But first, I do actually want to bring up a couple of notes about Aqua Styles in both Battle Arcs 2 and 3. Or really, just one note that got changed between these two games. One of the most useful abilities that is shared by all of Megaman's Aqua transformations is that they prevent Mega Man from slipping on ice panels. This can be really helpful, especially when you're in an area of the net where ice panels tend to spawn during virus encounters. However, Aqua Styles in Battle Arc 2 don't actually prevent you from slipping on ice. It's so weird being used to not slipping only to play Battle Arc 2 and start sliding all over the place. This got changed in Battle Arc 3, where Aqua Styles do prevent you from slipping on ice panels for the first time, which of course becomes a staple ability for Aqua transformations and Navis in the rest of the series. But this actually causes a similar situation to my previous video about fire folders, because if you're using the Ice Stage chip or the Set Ice program in Battle Arc 3 to empower Elect-type folders, the best style to use are actually Aqua Styles since they synergize well with those ice panels on the field. This isn't important for the rest of the video, but it is something that I felt would be interesting to bring up. Moving on to the souls and crosses though. Let's start by taking a look at Aqua Soul from Battle Arc 4. For the sake of not repeating myself too much, I won't mention the whole ice panel thing anymore, and will instead focus on the other abilities that these transformations have. For Aqua Soul, there's only one other thing to add to this list. Aqua Soul allows you to charge any non-dimming Aqua-type chips to double their damage. As for what chips this is most useful on, we'll save that for later in the video. Next up is Toad Soul in Battle Arc 5. Just like Aqua Soul, Toad Soul gives you the ability to charge non-dimming Aqua element chips to double their damage. In addition to this, however, Toad Soul has a defensive ability as well. While Toad Soul is active, Mega Man can actually hide underneath C panels to avoid most attacks, with the exception of any attacks that pierce underground or Elect-type attacks. Last up is Aqua Cross in Battle Arc 6. Unlike its predecessors, Aqua Cross has the ability to charge any non-dimming Aqua-type chips to make them deal double... Wait, that's exactly like the other two. But in addition to that, Aqua Cross also heals you for 5% of your max HP whenever you use non-dimming Aqua chips. Not quite as strong as Roll Soul was in Battle Arc 4, but it's still a nice ability to have added to Aqua Cross to help differentiate it from Aqua Soul. But now, we have a bit of a problem. Whereas Fire Soul, Napalm Soul, and Heat Cross each had different ways of increasing damage on fire chips, these three Aqua-type transformations all do the exact same thing, namely double damage of Aqua chips by charging them. So how can we determine which of the three is the best one? Obviously, we need to look at the other abilities that these forms have other than that whole not slipping on ice thing. As a result, we'll be eliminating Aqua Soul since it doesn't actually have any other abilities. So it's a competition between Toad Soul and Aqua Cross. And I'll be honest, it's kind of hard to say that one of them is objectively better than the other based on their abilities, since both abilities are fairly niche. Toad Soul hiding in C panels usually requires you to turn your front column into C panels by using C Seed yourself, and actually puts you at risk of taking quadruple damage from Elect-type attacks. As for Aqua Cross, that 5% max HP healing isn't that consistent at all since it only applies to Aqua chips. That being said, I think that there is still a clear winner for best Aqua transformation in the Battle Arc series, and that winner is actually... Toad Soul. Well, depending on who you ask, I suppose. The reason I believe Toad Soul is the best Aqua transformation is actually mentioned in one of the responses to that comment. It has the superior charge attack. Aqua Soul and Aqua Cross both have a bubbler as their charge attack, which can hit an enemy in the same row as Megaman, as well as the panel behind them. Although both of these charge attacks do charge almost immediately, they both cause flashing, which gives them a downside that Toad Soul's charge attack just doesn't have. Instead, Toad Soul's charge attack causes paralysis, making it objectively the best attack here. And on top of that, Toad Soul's charge attack even tracks enemies, making it fairly easy to hit. As a result of this better charge attack, I think that Toad Soul is the best of the 3 Aqua transformations from Battle Arcs 4, 5, or 6. And I'll be honest, although there is a clear winner in Toad Soul, I overall do like all these Aqua transformations, including Aqua Styles. It's no secret that Aqua Custom Style is actually my favorite one in the series, and I really enjoy using Aqua Soul and Aqua Cross as well. Ironically, Toad Soul is the one that I've used the least, but that may have been more to do with the chips it has available to it than it does with Toad Soul itself, which brings us into the next half of the video. We can now confidently say that Toad Soul is the best Aqua transformation, but that doesn't immediately mean that Toad Soul has the best Aqua folder in the series. So now, let's take a brief look at some of the Aqua chips available in each game to see which game has the best Aqua folders. And we're actually going to start with some Navi chip based folders from Battle Arcs 2 and 3, those being the Freeze Man and Bubble Man folders. I've actually covered both of them in my folder decoder series, and I'll have a link to those videos in the description below. Basically, these folders both use Aqua type Navi chips alongside the Aqua plus 40 or Aqua plus 30 chips to deal as much damage as possible, making them among the best Aqua based folders in their respective games. Moving on to Battle Arc 4, I actually want to highlight a series of chips, that being the Bubbler series. Unlike the Bubbler charge attack on Aqua Soul, the Bubbler chips don't cause flashing against enemy Navis. This of course means that you can use these chips repeatedly without having to worry about Navis avoiding damage after taking hits. And to make these chips even better, 2 of them actually share chip codes with each other. Bubble V and Bubble Side both come in the D and E codes, letting you make folders using either of those 2 codes with an Aqua Soul option. Add in White Shot 1, which also comes in both the D and E codes, and you have yourself a fairly decent folder. BN4 also has an inherent chip combination in the Blizzard and Element Ice chips. You can use Blizzard to set up ice panels on your side of the field, which empowers your Element Ice chip. Capcom definitely intended for these chips to be used together as well, since they share the H and V codes with each other. That V code in particular is notable as it contains yet another chip combo, Cannonball and Geyser. With the hole in the center of the enemy's field, Geyser can become a guaranteed hit and deals 400 damage after being charged by Aqua Soul. Moving on to Battle Arc 5's folders, we get some unfortunate news. Unlike in the previous game, Battle Arc 5 doesn't have any Aqua chips that don't cause flashing, which slows down your folders quite a bit when compared to the previous Bubble V and Side folder. However, this doesn't mean that Aqua folders are bad in this game, as Aqua chips actually got a small buff in this game. When standing on a C panel, Aqua type chips that you use gain a plus 30 damage modifier, and the panel gets turned into a normal panel. It's not much, but it's better than nothing, I suppose. As for the Aqua chips available in Battle Arc 5, there's the Side Bubble chips, which can hit twice if spaced out properly. Side Bubble 3 deals 130 damage per hit, so if it's charged up with Toad Soul and both bubbles hit, that's 520 damage with just a single chip, or 640 damage if it's used on a C panel. However, I don't think that Side Bubble is the best Aqua chip in Battle Arc 5. Instead, there's the Wave Pit chip, which is one of the best Aqua chips in Battle Arc 5. Wave Pit causes a wave to spawn from C panels, traveling forward and doing 160 damage to whatever it hits. However, since it's a non-dimming chip, it can actually be charged by Toad Soul to deal 320 damage instead. It's also really easy to set up, since all you need to do is use C-Seed first. You can even combo it with the Aqua World chips, which create C panels whenever they hit an enemy. Aqua World 1 in particular shares the B code with Wave Pit, making it easy to combo them together. The best Aqua folder that I've personally used in Battle Arc 5 is one that I actually created recently, which does use that Wave Pit chip. One of the codes that it comes in is the E code, which it shares with Wide Shot 2, giving access to fairly strong Aqua chips all in the same code. But as mentioned earlier, all of these chips cause flashing, which does slow down the folder a bit against enemy Navis. Lastly, in Battle Arc 6, there are actually a lot of great Aqua Element chips that you can throw into some strong folders. The most notable chip is Bubble Star, a chip that I mentioned previously in an episode of Folder Decoder. The Bubble Star chips are strong because when they hit opponents, your opponents get trapped inside of a bubble. This makes Bubble Star ideal for setting up other chips, as you can guarantee hits while your opponents are immobile. However, this isn't the only strength of Bubble Star. In addition to trapping opponents in place, the bubble also makes opponents take double damage from any elect type attacks, which is why I use these chips in an elect based folder. And by looking at the chip codes that Bubble Star is available in, it becomes obvious that Capcom intended to use these chips to empower elect type attacks, as all three versions of Bubble Star share chip codes with various elect chips, especially the Doll Thunder and Elect Dragon chips. And yet, there's still more to Aqua chips in Battle Arc 6, as they all universally received another buff. When you hit an enemy standing on an ice panel with any Aqua attacks, including the Aqua Cross Charge Shot, they end up being frozen in place. Similarly to Bubble Star, this lets you guarantee follow-up hits while enemies are frozen, and you can again deal double damage to enemies that are frozen, this time with Breaker type chips. The nice thing about Aqua folders in Battle Arc 4 is that you can go with a lot of different codes and find success. As I mentioned earlier, the Bubble Star chips share a lot of codes with Elect type chips, so you can try using Bubble Star as your main Aqua chip in a folder. If you want to play around with ice panels, Aqua Dragon is notable because it's a non-dimming chip, letting you double its damage with Aqua Cross. In addition, Aqua Dragon itself sets up ice panels, giving you a way of freezing enemies in place. Aqua Dragon comes in the H, P, and S codes, of which H is the most interesting, as that code is shared with several Breaker type chips, including Aura Head 3, Golem Hit 3, and Big Hook. So, between Battle Arcs 4, 5, and 6, which one has the best Aqua type folder that can work with its Aqua transformation? Well, for starters, I think we need to eliminate Battle Arc 5, as it has the weakest Aqua folders among these three games in my opinion. The biggest issue here is the fact that all Aqua chips that you can use cause flashing. Sure, there are strong individual chips, especially Wave Pit, and a fairly strong folder in that E-code folder that uses it alongside Wide Shot 2. However, having a folder full of chips which cause flashing slows it down drastically, which leads to my opinion that Battle Arc 5 has the weakest Aqua folders, to ironically pair it with Megaman's best Aqua transformation. As for the top spot, it's a bit difficult to say. Battle Arc 6 buffing Aqua chips and giving so many of them the option to not cause flashing by hitting them in ice panels is incredible. Honestly, there aren't any bad Aqua chips at all in Battle Arc 6, with the exception of Aqua Needle, although even that chip becomes incredible if you put a white capsule on it. However, I think that oftentimes, Battle Arc 6 doesn't have many outright Aqua folders. It can use Aqua chips, but those are more often used as a way of empowering Elect or Breaker type chips instead. The only type of folder where Aqua damage is the primary goal that immediately comes to mind for me is a folder using Train Arrow, though that one doesn't benefit from enemies standing on ice panels. So overall, I'd say that Battle Arc 4 has the strongest Aqua folder, albeit barely. And of course, this strongest folder is ironically paired with the objectively weakest Aqua transformation, which provides a double damage charge and nothing else. The reason why I believe that Battle Arc 4 has the strongest Aqua folder is simply the fact that Bubble V and Bubble Side don't cause flashing, giving you an Aqua type folder with which you can attack with your chips as quickly as you can charge them. It also helps that this folder can be made in either the D or E code, and can have a minimum of 16 on-code chips when using Bubble V, Bubble Side, Wide Shot 1, and the easy to obtain Blizzard in the star code. So overall, the weakest Aqua transformation in the game gets the best Aqua type folder, and vice versa. It's kind of funny how that works out, and is actually pretty well balanced by Capcom. Personally, I have used Aqua folders in Battle Arc 4 fairly often, and have only recently started using Toad Soul more often in Battle Arc 5. As for Aqua Cross, I've always used it, just never in a folder that's dedicated to dealing Aqua damage, other than to use Train Arrow as a way to obliterate Blastman SP. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like, and subscribe to my channel for some more Battle Arc content in the future. In addition to these essay style videos, I make 2 other series of videos relating to Battle Arc games. In my Folder Decoder series, I break down different chip folders that I've used throughout the series, and though the folders I mentioned today aren't ones that I've made videos about yet, I do have an elect folder that uses Bubble Star, and plan on making videos about the other folders I mentioned today in the future. I also have my Network Evolution series, in which I take a look at individual chips that have existed in multiple Balnark games, and see how those chips have changed over time. And just as I'll be making a folder decoder episode about a Balnark 4 bubble folder eventually, I'm sure I'll be doing a Network Evolution episode on those chips at some point as well. So again, make sure to subscribe to my channel to stay up to date with all my video releases, and as always, thanks for watching.